Just to be clear here, we are not talking about Tecumseh, the lawnmower engine company. They don't have any curses attached to them as far as I know, so you can just go ahead and calm down there, Briggs and Stratton. First and foremost, who was Tecumseh? Well, he was a Shawnee chief who built a confederation of native tribes around the Great Lakes region alongside his brother. He and Tenskwatawa did this in order to build native unity and to fight the westward expansion of the United States. Tecumseh was a gifted orator and leader and has since become a folk hero in both the US and Canada and was a model example of the noble savage archetype. Throughout his life, his main rival across the aisle was William Henry Harrison, an American military officer and the first governor of the Indiana Territory, who negotiated many treaties with native tribes, many of which Tecumseh disagreed with, and hence their conflict with each other. The two actually met several times to have discussions, but very little became of them. Mostly Tecumseh was decrying the unfairness of the treaties and warning of the tribes uniting against the Americans, and Harrison would just defend the American perspective. Harrison became famous for leading an American victory over Tecumseh's forces at the Battle of Tippecanoe. Though Tecumseh wasn't there, he was recruiting other tribes at the time. So it was actually his brother that was in charge. Harrison also destroyed the town that Tecumseh had founded, Prophetstown. Eventually, Tecumseh's forces would join up with the British during the War of 1812. He was one of the commanders of the force that took Detroit, but he would end up meeting his end at the Battle of the Thames, where he would be killed and his forces defeated by, you guessed it, William Henry Harrison. No, Harrison himself did not kill Tecumseh. Well, as far as we know, he didn't. Tecumseh's confederation fell apart after his death, and Harrison became known as Old Tippecanoe, which was part of his campaign slogan for when he was elected president in 1840. Tippecanoe and Tyler too, John Tyler being his running mate and, spoiler alert, successor. Harrison died 31 days into his first term on April 4th, 1841, making him both the first president to die in office but also serve the shortest recognized term in American history. How did he die? Well, I'm sure the bloodletting didn't help, but it's theorized that it was either pneumonia caused by wearing wet clothing or possibly typhoid, since the White House water supply was downriver of sewage. And from there, every president elected on a 0 year died in office, a streak that wouldn't be broken until 1980. But who were the other curse victims? Victim number 2 was Abraham Lincoln, elected in 1860 and assassinated by John Wilkes Booth while attending a performance of Our American Cousin at Ford's Theater on April 14, 1865, dying the next day. Booth, a rather renowned actor at the time, it would be kind of like if Brad Pitt suddenly decided to kill the president, was a Southern sympathizer who was part of a plan to reignite the Civil War, which had ended 5 days earlier, with Booth's part being to kill Lincoln. Victim number 3 was James Garfield, elected in 1880 and shot by Charles Guiteau on July 2, 1881, while catching a train at the Baltimore and Potomac Railroad Station, though he held on before dying, most likely from a massive infection, on September 19, 1881. Guiteau, who was mentally ill, shot him twice, once in the arm, once in the back. And supposedly he did this because he didn't receive a post of consul in Paris that he believed he deserved. Most believe that Garfield would have survived had he received better medical treatment, and maybe some lasagna could have helped. Victim number 4 was William McKinley, elected to his second term in 1900 and shot twice by an anarchy named Leon Czolgosz at the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York on September 6, 1901. Though, like Garfield, he didn't die immediately, but rather from infection due to poor medical treatment on September 14th. Leon blamed McKinley for the recession that the country was going through and decided to kill the president after losing his job. By the way, it was after this assassination that it became mandatory for the Secret Service to protect the president. Up to that point, presidents had the option to have protection, but Congress made it not an option. Victim number 5 was Warren G. Harding, elected in 1920, who died from a heart attack on August 2, 1923. No real foul play there or anything, just a simple heart attack. Victim number 6 was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, elected to his third term in 1940 and dying from a cerebral hemorrhage during his fourth term on April 12, 1945. He'd been in poor health leading up to his death while steering the U.S. through the Second World War. Victim number 7 was John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Kennedy, elected in 1960 and assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald. Look, that's the official story, so that's what we're going with here. In Dallas, Texas on November 22nd, 1963. There are a plethora of theories out there about why Oswald did it and whether he even did it, but most likely we'll never know the truth. Now, some see it as the curse being broken when Ronald Reagan, elected in 1980, survived his assassination attempt by William Hinckley Jr. on March 30th, 1981. Hinckley, as many know, was trying to impress actress Jodie Foster by assassinating the president, and yeah, that didn't work. Reagan ended up surviving after he received proper medical attention. But why was it called Tecumseh's Curse? You can blame that on Ripley's Believe It or Not. They were the first to bring attention to the streak in 1931, and they referred to it as Tecumseh's Curse due to his rivalry with Harrison. But ultimately, is the curse real? No, I think it's rather safe to say it's not real. Also, one other president has died in office, Zachary Taylor, and he most likely died of an illness. As you can tell by looking at him, Zachary Taylor was not amused, and if nothing else, his death gave us Willard Fillmore, which again, Zachary Taylor was not amused.